Welcome to the talk show, Lighting the Educational Flame, with your host, Mark Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields and academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Today's guest is the CEO and founder of e360TV, Heimes. Aaron talks about his passion for media and his growing network.
Hello and welcome to the talk show, Lighting the Educational Flame, brought to you by Great Success Education. I am your host, Mark Hoberman. Today, our guest is the CEO of e360TV, Aaron Heimes. Aaron is very important to me since my show, Lighting the Educational Flame, airs on e360TV. So that's enough brown nosing for one episode. But Aaron, thank you for being here and welcome to Lighting the Educational Flame.
Thank you, Mark. I very much appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
It's so nice to have you here. I only know some of the backdoor secrets of a station and network such as yours, but I'm going to be learning as much as our audience today. So what can you tell us about the skills needed to be a marketing manager and branded content producer?
Imagination. You need to have imagination, and you do have to have like some technical skills when it comes to being able to prepare assets. Every single campaign has to have unique assets attributed to it, and it's a very, very noisy world, as we all know. So it comes into play then of creating something that is unique, stands out, and really grabs people's attention within a couple seconds.
Yeah, and I have to say, you're being too humble. You're downplaying technical, because I have to tell you that some of the things you do that is probably second nature to you, I think would blow people's minds. So it's not, like being a big technical producer, but, a lot of these things have to be learned, and it is a skill. When I was teaching, I was working team teaching with an excellent teacher. And years ago, the first CD-ROM drives came out. And it came in, and she was an older teacher, phenomenal teacher. But I said, oh my God, look at these new computers. And I pressed the button and the CD-ROM thing opens, and she said, oh my God, this is amazing. And she put a coffee mug on it. So whenever I hear somebody tell me, oh, a little technical, this and that, I mean, it's a big skill set. And I guess you got to be great at it, but you have to love it too. And, when we talk about teaching and kids and education, back in the day, it's always, what do you want to be? A fireman, a doctor, a policeman, a teacher, that kind of thing. Everybody watches television, movies, shows, and they stream on so many various networks now. But if you have the passion and drive to actually create a network, you're talking about a very different animal here. Oh, I want to be on TV. Oh, I'd love to have my own show. How did you first become interested in media?
I was... because I don't have a background in media. I mean, I'm new media, if you will. Really, I've been an entrepreneur now for 11 years, and couple successful business, one still going on the side here. And it was really at the end of the one project that I really just got tuned into it and really started, because I didn't come from old media. So I had the quote, quote, advantage of not having to go with the old way. And that's when I just started looking at all the pieces and stuff, and then finally figuring out a problem that I was like, okay, this could be solved, and started putting things together and stuff like that. So it was just really the excitement of media, and it's cool. It is cool. It's a cool field. You get to make cool stuff. You get to open up opportunities for people. And it's just really, I don't know, it's a lot of fun, so it's a great area to get into, because it's once you get into it, there's so many rabbit holes, everything from production to editing to being on the coding and developing side, to the marketing aspects, which is the imaginative side and stuff like that. So there's just so many areas that you can get into it. And it's like so many other, I guess, kind of, sectors and stuff like that, is you can kind of find your niche and what you're really, really, really good at. and you can make money in it, you know, which is good.
Sure. And when you talk about the different aspects of it, you know, when I go to movies and I see the credits, I almost want to say to the person next to me, who in the world was not part of this movie? There's 850 billion people here. Or, you know, I remember when I think it was Conan O'Brien, one of his shows was taken off the air. And he talked about how many people he had employed. And as a teacher, I've seen kids so interested in the media. But when you talk about music, people say, Mr. Hoberman, I love music, but I can't rap. Can you mix music? Can you create a beat? Can you write about music? Can you do reviews of different bands? So it's so great that you see that aspect of it. And it's wonderful that you love what you do. I was in teaching for over 30 years and I truly loved what I did. But we talk a lot on Lighting the Educational Flame about, we know the glory, but we don't know the story. So as much fun as it is it phenomenal to sit back and see these shows on your network, to be seen on Roku and different media channels and whatnot. What are the struggles of starting, and more importantly, of growing a streaming network?
Learning curves. Because it's so Wild West, you know, this whole digital streaming, this world is really, if anyone tells you they know exactly how to do it, that's bogus. That's not true, because it is so expanding, and it's really even hard to even keep up with all the different pieces that are coming out and stacking different technologies and stuff like that. But the struggle is the learning curve, because you know, for E360, we started off as a little choo-choo and we organically grew. And we didn't really figure out exactly, you know, what's the model look like. We knew we wanted to do. We wanted to get people and get audiences, you know, bring those things together, you know, so people aren't just, you know, doing YouTube and stuff like that. Put them in a better position to be able to monetize their content, and at the same time bring audiences to content that they're missing out on. You know, that's just amazing, good storytellers and creators that just want to get in the light of day. So we knew we wanted to do that, but how do you put that monetization model around that, and for it to make sense for everyone involved? So, that is a, you know, and the learning curve. But that's the thing is that yes, it's a struggle, but at the same time, with like so many other fields, you just have to accept the challenge of a learning curve. You know, that is just part of the game, and that you won't ever get the opportunity to go through that learning curve again. So really just be okay with it. You know, that, hey, I don't get this, but you know what? I'm 99% sure I can figure it out. And then just start on that path and just keep going, and you'll appreciate everything that much more.
That's a great philosophy. And you took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say, as the teacher in me would say, it's not the struggle of the learning curve, it's the magic of the learning curve. Because there are people who believe you want to succeed, double your failures. That's a very hard concept. And you touched on something that's known in the industry as growth mindset. Instead of saying, I don't know how to do this, you just flip the switch to, I don't know how to do this yet.
Absolutely.
And it's that learning curve that's so important. It's great that you tapped into that. So would you be able to tell us some failures you had, either in marketing, branding, or on the show? Maybe funny, maybe you'll have a flashback and it's going to get ugly, but wow. You know, what really was difficult? I'm sure you learned from it, but I really want our viewers to see that aspect of the business.
Well, the live aspect was new to us at the beginning. Well, it was the end of 2019, really, is when it started. And it was 3 months of failures. So, I mean, everything you can possibly think of that could possibly go wrong, it did. So let's say your lips are moving, but your sound is off. It looks wonderful on one platform, looks horrible on the next. To it being too difficult for people to use, to it just being so insanely expensive that it wouldn't be marketable. I mean, I can't tell you a lot of failures through this process, but it was dead set on getting it right. you know, to making it where it worked. And we're still not there. You know, I mean, that's the thing. It's still growing. We're still learning. But we're always looking at, okay, what's the next thing is, but if you just embrace failure, it's not it has to happen. It has to happen. There's no way out of it, you know? That's just part of the journey, and embrace it and be
Right,
cool.
and it's only trial and error. This reminds me of the time that Great Success Education is my tutoring business, and I was having my website redone, and guy said, "Look how wonderful it looks." And I opened it up, and I said, "Half the page is missing." And he said, "Well, what browser are you using?" Well, what the hell does that make a difference what browser I'm using? Well, we have to make sure that it's different on Mozilla, that it is on this and that. And people don't realize that you just snap your finger and this magic happens. Right. And this trial and error is very important. I love the fact that you're open to always learning. And I would hope, and I say this not tongue in cheek, that you're always growing and you're never there yet. Because when you're there yet, what is there to aspire to? So yes, that's, I think, an important message also. When it talks about either guests or shows for E360TV, how do you go about finding, researching people, businesses, stories that would be a good fit for your network?
We have been 100% organically grown when it comes to the show side. It's always been referred. So we've always been introduced to someone. And one of our things is there's not like a sales pitch that goes along with it. People either look at what we do and they go, "That's what I needed. I needed more spots." You know what I mean? I needed to get out there. I need to be on more devices. You know, I need that distribution, or they don't, or they're like, "No, you know, I don't really see the advantage," whatever it may be. And so, so we've never really gone out and pursued people. Now we also do a lot of events. That's a different story. We do go out and we do pursue, you know, associations, companies, nonprofits, those kind of things, to go out and just actually seek out for, you know, to be able to live stream their events and things like that.
Excellent. And when you go in search of these kind of people, do you have parameters? Do you have a checklist? Do you have a level of interest that makes them stand out more than going to research somebody else?
It's really, it's got to kind of fall into our niche, or our you know, it's got to be a good company. We don't want to work with bad companies or ones that are kind of, you know, questionable. So we love working with like, as you probably have seen, we do a lot of space stuff. A lot of that stuff is educational. A lot of those are from grants and stuff like that is for education, for STEM and those kind of things. So we work with a lot of those kind of things, but it's more so if we just want to make sure that it's bringing value of what we're putting out there. It's not a sales pitch. You know, so we've rejected things that people wanted to live stream, and we just said, no, that's not really we didn't want to say straight up, we don't trust you. we don't know what you're up to. Right. It's like a con job. Exactly. But we just want to make sure that it's valuable stuff that's going out to the world and our audiences will enjoy.
Excellent. And question I have is, based on the age, would be a different answer if you had a nephew who was 10 and asked you this question versus 21. But if a 21-year-old nephew said to you, "Uncle Aaron, I want to do what you do," I would argue that unless you had a big, long talk, he doesn't know what you do. So how would you answer somebody who wants to go into creating a show, a podcast, a blog, and more, and you have a different spin on it. It's great that you have the media network, but there's a lot that goes into it. You know, there's marketing, and, you know, unless you want your aunt and 3 friends to watch it, how do you get that word out? That's a take on it, a spin on it. That's really your bailiwick, the marketing aspect.
Yeah. If anyone, it's like if I had, let's say I had a nephew or whoever may maybe come forward and say, I want to show, or I want to run a network. If they say they want to run a network, I say, I don't know if you're quite ready for that. That's a lot. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of money. It's just, you know, it is a challenge, but a show and stuff like that, I would tell them and say, look, you're down a path and you got to be, it's got to be a committed path, because your first time you do it, you might have 2 people watching, and you need it to grow organically.
Right.
Otherwise it's not going to stick. It's got to be people that see value in content, and it's got to grow and grow and grow and grow naturally. So, and this, of course, is that the time commitment that comes with doing a show, you got to do it on a regular basis. You got to, whenever you're doing an interview, you got to show up mentally, you know what I mean? You got to be.
Absolutely.
So, I'd tell them, go for it. And just, take your time at it. Don't rush it, but you got to be persistent. Once you start, just keep going on it. But I would tell them, sure, go for it. There's no better way to learn.
Absolutely. And you answer that in a way that I think some people would not have answered it, because a lot of times you hear you need content, you need content, you need content. You had a different spin on that. And I've asked these questions of people before, and you said value in content.
Yeah.
That is very different from content. Yeah. So could you expand on value in content?
Yep. So it's got to be bingeable and shareable. So it's got to be something that people will sit down and watch over and over again. They'll rewind it if they think they missed a part of it. And then at the same time, they'd share it with their mother, father, daughter, whatever it may be. They're going to be something like that. So that's kind of the tipping thing of whether they're going to get that out. I mean, I hope someone is watching this and goes, my nephew has been talking about media. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And this would be a great thing for them to share and say, hey, you check this out. You're going to know about these different avenues of what you can do in it. So that's the big thing, is that it's got to bring value in someone's life. And it doesn't have to like not monetize, you know what I mean? It's just going to be something that they just enjoy, and then they can walk away with a little bit better, a little more enlightened, a little more educated, whatever it may be.
Excellent advice. And you use a term, you may have coined it, I don't know, but I've heard you use the term over-the-top media distribution. Mm-hmm. I hear that, and I think I'm sitting in a big office at IBM or Bear Stearns, and someone said, we need some over-the-top media distribution. But I love when I can get it right from the horse's mouth. So I don't know what that is. So what is over-the-top media distribution? Over
the top, OTT, as of course the abbreviation. That is not mine. That is from that. Now you have many televisions that have Roku and these different inside the TV, or they're manufactured with it. But before, of course, they were always a little box, and you put that over the top of your television. So that's what that comes from.
Oh, outstanding. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's
Excellent.
a device, which is now it's, it's very broad, of course, but that's where it's coined from.
Great. And you're certainly an expert in the field. So the same nephew comes to you. Now he's got his show. And Uncle Aaron, my show is in there in a sea of tens of thousands of podcasts, video talk shows, audio talk shows. How do I stand out? How do I get the word out and grow this thing? Yes, I want to grow it organically. Walk me through what that looks like. And I know that's a big question, but I think
it's two main pieces: distribution and marketing. That's the two pieces right there. So you want to position it. You want to get distribution. So you want to be on more and more platforms, because you have to think of, this is not about you. This is about your audience. And some people like to watch on their iOS devices. Some like to watch Android. Some people are Apple TV people versus, they're all are other things. You want your programming to be available on whichever device and whatever platform they trust and where they frequent. So that's your number one thing. So you want to be in all those places. The second thing is in the marketing. And the marketing is not only the show, but you got to concentrate on the content that's within an episode. So because it's marketing is, our competition for eyeballs, Coca-Cola, Red Bull, list goes on, Jack in the Box, list goes on and on and on. They have huge budgets. So you have to be laser focused when you're trying to get those, when you're trying to build those audiences. So what we have found through our learning curve is that when you take the particular content of a particular episode and you point that at a very niche audience that you know will find value in it, it works extremely well, you know.
Outstanding advice. And some of what you said is liquid gold, because I remember when I was doing some ad campaigns, I was not even thinking about where parents would be looking. And when it was told to me the percentage of people looking at my ads on a phone versus on the computer, it was mind-boggling, because I was thinking about where I look, and now I do. But 5 years ago when I did this, I was on the computer more than the phone. Now I don't know who's on the phone, on the computer. They're on the phone with social media. They're posting there. It's a 24-hour news cycle right in your face. So excellent advice. What can you tell our viewers about E360TV specifically? The types of shows, how they can access it.
Yeah, so download the app. Number one thing, download the app on any of your devices, iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Download the app. Of course, web-based, e360tv.com. That's where our web app is actually sitting there. So when it comes to the content and stuff like that, we have our main categories: fresh takes, which are fresh perspectives. You know, so that's your programming. And then we have positive vibrations, we have lifestyles, we have, you know, so it's a pretty wider range. But what we really wanted to do through all of our content, and I'm never a anti big media person, okay, don't get me wrong on that, but one of the things that does drive me a little crazy is a lot of times in mass media, you'll see people talking about what people are thinking. One of our things we wanted to do is let's get that directly from the actual people. Let's get, like, what do you think? You know, we've had, you know, last year was pretty, and the year before was crazy when it came to our country. A lot of changes, things were happening or whatever. Some of the programming that came out of E360 TV directly from people's mouths, I found so much more valuable than sitting there watching the news or other things out there, because it really was like, you really heard from actual people on how these changes and stuff are influencing them. And there's a lot of, you know, and again, what I think what our audiences dig is that we don't take that top 1% layer of media that's like the low hanging fruit, if you will. Not a lot of depth, kind of, I use, this is someone else's coin, but that 0 calorie content.
Right.
And what it is it's longer form and it's more in depth, and it actually travels the story and gives it the light of day that it deserves.
Excellent. And I know you're not anti big media, but there are those holes that people see. And the last year and a half is something I've never experienced, and I'm not 20 years old, so I've been around a little bit, and so have you. So you know, thank you for all that you do with informing people with different channels and different shows. What is next for Aaron Heimes?
We have, well, I can tell you that E360 TV is, we have a lot of things that are on the back end that we can't even really talk about yet at this point.
Secret announcement.
Because it's so, but it's there's a lot of, and it's technology and people. Mm-hmm. That's the basis of building a company, and that's what we're working on. And there is going to be another chapter of E360 coming up, and it's really bad to the bone. You know, it's really cool. What we did, you know, over all this time and stuff is that, you know, you sit there and you pick things that you like. You're like, oh, this is cool. I want to put this in. I want to do this and this and this. And then you sit back and you look at everything. You get feedback from everyone and stuff like that. And you start painting this castle on the hill, you know, where you're like, that's what we're going to build. You know what I mean? It's going to be this. So, but you have to make sure it's attainable. And then you have to figure out what the budget is and all those fun things and find all that money. So it's so that's what's next, and I'm really excited about that, because it's just, I don't know, it feels like you know, like when you go hiking and you just start walking down a trail, and there's a bend in it, and you have no idea what's around the bend. But then you just keep going, and you just find another pleasant surprise. And then you keep doing it, and it's a pleasant surprise over, you keep over and over again the entire time you're going up. That's where the journey's been. So now it's now that we have this confidence and we know that things are working, it's like we want to go into full-blown sprint mode, because we're just, you know what I mean, with the big shoulder pads and everything like that, just boxing out people. So so I know that's pretty ambiguous. Probably didn't quite answer your question.
But now you piqued our interest. So now we're going to be on the lookout. And what you're talking about is the famous poem, The Road Less Traveled. The path, it's not always the easiest, and you don't know what's going around there. But I hope people hear through the noise and hear what's really the message here, which is, reach for the stars, but budget. What's the plan? What's next? You're going to fail. Expect to fail. Yeah. And that's really the secret. So Aaron Heimes, thank you for joining us today and sharing your passion for media and really using your network e360TV to inform so many people about so many different things. Thank you for hosting my show on your network. It's an honor for that. And thank you for that. And folks, this is Mark Hoberman thanking you for watching Light of the Educational Flame. Have a great day. Aaron, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Lighting the Educational Flame. To contact Mark Hoberman, email him at info@gradesuccess.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Lighting the Educational Flame.